Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Ascendant Mysore. Today, continuing the placement of planets in different houses, I am in Ketu in the 10th house, and I'll be finishing Ketu 10, 11, 12, and then going into combination of planets, which I have already started with Sun and Mars. So, made some points here. So, the 10th house means karma sthana. Karma, the house of action. It is also now the highest action a person does nowadays, uh, just coming out of the action movies. The action what a person does in a normal life, most of it is seen with regard to how he maintains his character, how he is around with his friends and family, at his home, and not to forget at his job. So that is why they think that the 10th house is for job, job, and job. Always, when we tell 10th house, we directly go to professional success, profession, XYZ. But 10th house means every action, starting from, sleeping well at night, having a good sleep, dreamless, normal sleep, going into deep sleep, or getting into continuous action, continuously working somewhere, doing your job 24 bar 7, you can see that person is very busy. He's not 24 bar 7, but you feel that that person is so active. Anybody will break down and come back to, the place where he would want some rest and peacefulness. So all this, every second of the moment of a person's life from the first breath till the last breath is the 10th house. That is what is called action. So, that is why the ninth is the dharma, the ethics, and 10th is the karma, the action, the deeds. So, when Ketu is placed in such a place, where usually people think that Ketu will take away everything from people, he will, totally cut off himself from society or anything like that. If Ketu is extremely strong in the 10th house, unafflicted, 100% the person would want to have his own style of life. His style of life will be little peculiar, good with regard to some people. Some people will tell it is bizarre or weird. How come the person can live such a life? Sometimes it will be very very peculiar. Peculiar things can happen with Ketu. It all depends on the Rashi in which it is posited. So Ketu in the 10th house is do it your style, your way, and have your own perspective towards life. That is self study, self experience, self trial and error, self implementation, self satisfaction. You cannot compare yourself with others in the society when you are doing something which is extremely rare and very peculiar. So, if you are doing that, you cannot compare the results of that particular action with a normal person's activity in this world. So, it's something like if the crowd is running this side, a Ketu strong in the 10th house will simply be standing there, and he will be like, he will be making, he will be thinking that you people are, funny. Why are you people running? I don't know, why are you running? You don't have to run. You can stay in a place and do what you can do. So try to understand the perspective in what I am trying to, in which I am trying to tell. So people may mock at you, people may make fun at you, but a person like you with Ketu in the 10th house, you will have your say when people will start recognizing your effort after many years. They will recognize your effort and then they will tell, man, this path we had not even dreamt of, and you have successfully done it, you have implemented it. So, people with Ketu in the 10th house are extremely perfect in their job. Their skill sets are very good. So, that's why I have written they don't have talent. Talent is something when you go and perform your skill at midst of people, where let's say there is a talent competition and you have a skill. Let's say you are a beautiful paint artist or a sketch artist. With Ketu in the 10th house, what happens is you do it professionally also, but you'll be doing it silently. It's something like a leaf in the tree. Doesn't have a significance when the tree has millions of leaves. The leaf in the tree becomes very significant when it is the last leaf to drop. It's the one leaf which is sticking on the tree. Then people will observe, take photographs. They'll tell, wow, there is only one leaf in this tree. All the other leaves have fallen down. So that stands out. But when there are millions of leaves in the tree, each leaf will be unique, but none of them will stand out. Why? Because they are all jumbled in between. So Ketu lives like that. He does not want unnecessary, showbiz. He doesn't want instant, great fame. No, he wants to be silent. Remote, alone, wants to work with isolation. So all these points are there. I'm mixing up a lot of points. But anyway, let me come here. Very naive, straightforward, humble, and hence in today's dirty, competitive world, I call it dirty because they do all dirty practices in this stupid competition of the rat race. So people will take undue advantage of a person who has a good, strong Ketu in the 10th house because he is naive, he is straight, he is straightforward, his opinions are just direct, he cannot fake. Ketu can never fake when it is strong. The other way around, if it is weak, this person will be distorted, confused, always, always you will be dissatisfied, always going under, dependent on somebody else's opinion, dependent on somebody else's support. Physically, mentally, psychologically, people will be always under support. So this is when Ketu is weak and totally, malefically positioned in the 10th house. But if it is a strong Ketu, he would not quarrel with anybody in the job place. He would not quarrel with his staff. The association would be very smooth. He would be very happy with them. So it'll keep running nice. But if it is weak, frequent quarrels, frequent altercations, frequent arguments, and he will leave the job because he will tell, I did not like the job. My team was not good. They started pulling my leg. There was a lot of bureaucracy. There was a lot of politics. And my boss was not good. He did not like me. Why will anybody like a person who is quarrelsome and always negative and pessimistic and sarcastic or critical in nature? So that is how a weak Ketu reacts. So normally a strong Ketu, 10th house, you will deal with deep knowledge. The job you do will be the best because your skill will be the best. You will not get distracted. And anyway, I told you, you don't like this fame, talent, blockbuster, suddenly get into, that particular highlight. So the perspective to solve problems from a different angle. This is one which a Ketu in the 10th house can give a great edge over anybody else because Mercury in the 10th house, that person will have a lot of knowledge. Ketu in the 10th house, the lot of knowledge but with a different angle. That angle of perspection towards any particular given problem is very different. So they will solve it. You will not have even thought about that angle. So they will solve it like that. So always out of the box. Mercury is witty. Ketu is not witty, but they are like they have to solve the puzzle. They'll solve it. Spirituality through karma, knowledge, and simplicity. Simplicity because Ketu doesn't like pompous extravaganza. Is a very simple and a very. It's a beautiful planet to understand what is karma and how to achieve moksha through karma. Why is Ketu so strong in the 10th house? Is because it is the moksha kendra. The first house is dharma, second kendra is the fourth house, that is the artha. The seventh house is the third kendra, it is the kama, and the 10th, that is the fourth kendra, is the moksha. So this is moksha through karma. Work is worship, they will do it and they will die doing it. So technically they are very sound in any subject of their choice. They can understand intricate subjects, very difficult subjects, and they would want to do those things. They don't want to do the macro level things. They want to go into the micro level, like becoming a neurosurgeon, going into detailing, becoming an artist, going into detail sketching, or going into microscopic, levels of what electrons, nanotechnology. All these things come under Ketu in the 10th house. But these people don't have that that acumen to transfer knowledge. They don't have that great communication skill. And why is this? Because it is the eighth from the third house. It becomes the badaka for communication. Third house, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the 10th house becomes the eighth from the third house, which becomes a hurdle to or a difficulty. I'm calling Badaka in a different way, that it becomes an ailment or a difficulty to the third house. So that's how it hits the communication. So would want to work in isolation, alone, without hindrance, doesn't like bossism, would want to be his own boss. There is no concept of boss with Ketu in the 10th house, with a good Ketu in the 10th house. The concept of grudge, the concept of difficulty, concept of not getting good jobs, always getting transferred, very weak in getting jobs. This is a weak Ketu in the 10th house, or a malefic Ketu in the 10th house. But a strong Ketu in the 10th house, they don't like bossism, they don't understand what is bossism, they don't want to depend on the lower staff or their, lower rank officials, or even their, what we call assistants. They don't want to depend on them, they want to do everything themselves. So they are very good at it also. They can do it. They do it slowly, but they do it perfectly. It is the seventh from the fourth house. So Bhavat Bhava principle applies everywhere and here also. So you have to be beware of vehicular accidents. Why? The seventh house becomes a maraka for the fourth house, which is a vehicle. So vehicle damage is seen in the 10th house when Ketu is weakly positive. Not strong, weakly positive. A strong Ketu, they will not buy any vehicle. They will simply, hire a taxi and simply go. So people I have seen with Ketu in the 10th house, they don't want to buy vehicles at all. So they usually get back problem because they will sit, I don't know my English, problem, back problem, that lumbar bones, L1, 2, 3, 4 can prolapse very easily with this particular placement. Piles, colon problems, so keyhole surgeries, even problems of the kidney if Jupiter is associated with Ketu, and the moon also is destroyed in the chart. So the skill will be fantastic, and that is why a person with Ketu will attract the others through his skill and his way of thinking. So they are too perfect in housekeeping, excellent in housekeeping, and that will be a difficulty for people who are staying with him or her, because to keep up that level of housekeeping would be very difficult. So, and if it is weak, they are very disturbed, everything shabby, thrown everywhere, looks very, very bad in management. So, that's what is Ketu for you, and Ketu in the 10th house is a very tough subject to discuss. Usually, Ketu itself is a very tough subject to discuss, because people understanding Ketu itself is a very tough thing. I took years to understand this by studying a lot of charts. So, hundreds of charts with Ketu in first house, second house, fifth house, 10th house. So, that is why I make my own points, my own notes, and discuss. Thank you very much for today's class.